How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Mullen, which was down almost 12% on the day. It is continuing to have a pullback, but of course you guys are not surprised about that. We talked about it, where it could possibly go on this channel. So as far as going into tomorrow, knowing that we're going to have some continued volatility, plus we had a recent press release, you know what? I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support, we want to know resistance, we want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Mullen. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at 95 cents, being down 11.81%. On the low, it tested 94 cents, and then on the high, testing $1.14. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 57.159 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 47.722 million shares. So we had above average volume on the day, but we had a pullback in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is the daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it's at 28.61, so right in that oversold territory. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 200-day, the 100-day, the 50-day, and as well as the 21-day EMA. And it's clear to see that Mullen is in a bear market, trading below all of our major moving averages. So we ended up breaking through $1. So the next area where we want to see some support kick in, which we covered, is around 73 cents. If 73 cents does not hold, then we can see Mullen going back into the 50-cent range. If you're looking for a reversal out of this play, remember, we saw the high at $1.14. So you want price action above that and seeing if it can get back to the 21-day EMA, which is at $1.51. If we see some strength in the market, or if they end up coming up with a catalyst, they'll be able to get to this level. The fact that we had that high right at 114, this is not a great sign whatsoever. But if we could reclaim 151, then you want to see that move, of course, going to the 50-day moving average, which is right here around $1.89. But as far as for this week, I'm personally not seeing that. So we can continue to see a pullback in the stock. Like I said, keep an eye on 73 cents, but before we actually get there, I can see us testing in the mid 80-cent range. Now let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent short interest information from Mullen. So the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 23.70%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 5.99 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 7 million, updated 5 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow-free rate is at 3.41%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, you can see for the close of the 6th, it was at 24.36, and then for the close of the 9th, being at 23.70. So what does this show us? Taking into consideration the short interest percentage of the float is at 16.78% and continuing to climb. Mullen does have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Mullen. So we see here on the inflow, it is at 12.80 million, and then on the outflow, it's at 13.56 million. So we had an outflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large, it was 3.54 million. On the medium, it was 6.66 million, and then on the small, it was 2.60 million. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large, it was 4.21 million. On the medium, it was 7.10 million, and then on the small, it was 2.25 million. Taking a look at the large-scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for today, May the 10th, we ended up having an outflow of negative 0.68 million. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small-scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 20.27%. So again, not surprised knowing that Mullen is a volatile stock. We also have to take into consideration that this is a speculative play. And when it comes to plays like these, you have to have a strategy and you have to know where the traders are bringing their attention, because we know this play thrives on volume. And if it doesn't have that volume, we're going to be dealing with selling pressure. Let's go on to the final thoughts and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for Mullen, before we start talking about the price action, let's go over the recent press release that came out today. So Mullen issues update on its solid state polymer battery testing. Mullen Automotive Inc. Battery Innovation Center has completed cell preconditioning in preparation for cell performance cycling. Mullen Automotive Inc. also will enter into a high rate cycling as a part of the performance-based cycling, with those results forthcoming. So long story short, we were able to get an update in regards to their battery testing. We still have to stand by for more information, but it's good to see that they are making some progress and they're keeping shareholders in the know. One thing we have to keep in mind though with this particular catalyst, this has nothing to do with the fact of how this company is going to be consistently profitable and how soon that's going to happen. So I want to make sure you're aware of this, and that's why in the markets that we're currently in, which is a bear market, you're going to see selling pressure when we do not have strong catalysts. And since this is not a strong catalyst, that is part of the reasons why we are continuing to see a pullback in the stock, and we're also noticing this in the market as a whole. Now, as far as for the price action, you guys already know about the levels we've discussed. Now that we've already broken through that $1 level, there is a potential chance we can come down to 73 cents. And if we break through 73 cents, then you could see Mullen trading in the 50-cent range. So you want to keep a very close eye on these particular levels, especially if you are an investor, because what that means, you have high conviction. You believe that as far as for the future for their batteries, there's a lot of potential. You see this company making moves forward. We already know for a fact there's a lot of interest on the retail side as well. And that's why I want to see bulls stepping in when the stock decides to pull back in the 70-cent range and as well as in the 50-cent range. Because if they don't step in, that tells us already what is happening on the retail side, and institutions will continue to sell this thing off and make money on the downside as well. So I want to make sure you know about that. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the recent short interest information, Mullen does continue to have short squeeze potential. But in order to force a short squeeze, we need to have that buying volume coming into the play, and we are not getting that. All we are seeing is selling pressure. So we need to see a change, and once we see that change, and if we end up getting a strong catalyst, then I can see the stock making some moves to the upside. Unfortunately, I can't give you guys a timeline of when that's going to happen. But one thing that is clear in this particular market, I know I sound like a broken record, if a company's not showing consistent profitability or a path actually to get there, those particular stocks are going to get beaten down. They all trade inside of the growth sector. So you want to keep in mind of this. You probably noticed already any plays that you're in, so whether it might be SoFi, maybe it might be Lucid, or any other stock, even the bigger cap stocks like Apple and as well as Facebook, they've all pulled back dramatically. This is a bear market that we are in, so make sure that you're mentally prepared for it. There is no reason to panic. If you have stocks inside of your portfolio that give you the sweats at night, then maybe it's a good time for you to start considering, you know what, I don't want to hold these stocks anymore. Because again, if they are pulling back, if they are looking red, that's an opportunity for you to load up on some more shares. So if you don't have that high conviction, again, do something about it. Get your mind right, load up your portfolio with some plays that have a lot of upside, and especially with businesses that are consistently profitable. And if you don't want to be putting your money in stocks, then take a look at ETFs. ETFs are not bad either. It's a great passive way to make some money inside of the stock market, especially if you're busy or if you're working a job. I know I don't usually talk about this, but I want to make sure I'm being clear. I'm seeing a lot of fear. I'm seeing a lot of uncertainty, so I want to make sure that you're getting your head straight. And also don't forget, we have CPI data that's going to be coming out tomorrow, which is going to be on Wednesday. And considering what those results are, we're looking for inflation to actually been peaked. So we're looking for a lower number. If it ends up coming in higher than expectations, we can continue to see the market pull back. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see how Mullen performs going into tomorrow. We'll talk soon.